Hari Om. We'll chant a few mantras from mantra number 14. उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत प्राप्य वरान् निबोधत क्षुरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्यया दुर्गं पतस्तत्कवयो वदन्ति अशब्दमस्पर्शमरूपमव्ययम् तथा रसं नित्यमगन्धवच्च यत् अनाद्यनन्तं महतः परं ध्रुवम् निचाय्यतन्मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुच्यते नाचिकेतमुपाख्यानम् मृत्युप्रोक्तं सनातनम् उक्त्वा श्रुत्वा च मेधावी ब्रह्मलोके महीयते यैमं परमं गुह्यं श्रावयेत् ब्रह्म संसदि प्रयतः श्राद्धकाले वा तदानन्त्याय कल्पते तदानन्त्याय कल्पत इति. So the urgency is shown in the mantra Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata, that you arise and awake and approach a teacher and learn and walk this path. It is very narrow and very sharp, like the edge of a razor. But with proper guidance, one will be able to attain one's goal, which is that supreme self, our own self, which is not part of the world. It has no sound, no touch, no taste. It is beyond all concepts of the mind, the intellect. It is free from beginning and end. But having recognized which, one becomes free from death, free from mortality. We attain the state of immortality, which is our real nature, which is what we are. So thus conclude this chapter, which is also the Falashruti is given, that if we read this or chant this or talk about this among wise people, we will also attain that supreme goal. Now begins the second chapter, and in this chapter some more guidance is given to the student, and also the supreme truth is indicated in various ways. Lot of things are repeated in the following chapters. So no new topic, but the same truth is indicated in different ways. So let us chant the first verse of the fourth Valli, second chapter. Paranchikhani vetrunat swayam bhuhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratman kaschid dhira pratyagatmanamaikshat आवृत्तचक्षुरमृतत्वमिच्छन् पराञ्चिखानि व्यतृणत् स्वयंभूः कश्चिद्धीरप्रत्यगात्मानमैक्षत आवृत्तचक्षुरमृतत्वमिच्छन्. It was said that this Atma or the Supreme Self is ashabdam, asparsham, arupam. It is not, it doesn't have a sound or cannot be touched, cannot be tasted beyond the sense organs. But our sense organs are there and they are constantly going out. So paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhu. Our sense organs constantly seek stimuli. So constantly we are seeking stimuli outside. And what we have to seek is within. We have to go to the source of our entire personality. And what our senses are giving us is the outer stimuli of the outer world, impressions of the outer world. So that is how it is made. These senses they have their own manufacturing defect as though. So paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhu. Swayambhu means the creator who is self-born, who has as though destroyed or as though made these senses little defective as far as spiritual path or spiritual growth is concerned. By nature, these senses go outside. They are habituated to go out in the world of names and forms. So paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhu. In Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says that the senses keep on going out, and the first thing we have to do in order to control our mind is to control the senses. Indriyasya indriyasyarthe ragadvesha vyavastito tayorna vashamagachet tavyasya paripantino. In Gita Bhagavan says that each sense organ, they have their own likes and dislikes. Though the likes and dislikes are there in our mind, but they get expressed through the sense organs. So we have our own likes and dislikes about what we see and what we don't see, what we like to eat and what we don't like to eat, what we like to smell and what we don't like. So all this we have our own likes and dislikes. In Gita, Bhagavan gives advice that you don't come under the sway of these likes and dislikes. So what happens? We don't come under the sway of the objects, so the senses come under control, the mind comes under control. Otherwise, constantly the senses go out. When we are sitting for meditation, even though our eyes are closed, we want to see something. People generally want to see some image. If not outside, they try to see it within. Create an image with their own mind, with the eyes, like we try to see some form, some color. So even some meditation techniques are there. It is just a stepping stone, like wherein we try to imagine something inside rather than seeing outside, so that at least the senses are trained to as though come within. So paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhuhu. The senses by nature are outgoing, and our journey is to go within, to recognize our Supreme Self. It is like we want to dive in water, maybe a well. We have to go deep and retrieve some object which is fallen down. So the waters will try to push the body up, and we want to go down and because of the whatever buoyancy and all, the body is pushed up. Similarly, in meditation we want to go deep within, but the senses and all try to push us out. So it is constant tug of war while meditating. Our eyes are closed, but our ears are very sensitive. Our nose is also very sensitive. Sometimes even one sense organ is enough to take us out into the world. And that is not the what you call problem with us as individual, but this is the manufacturing defect. This is congenital as the problem we are born with this. So paranchi khani vetrunat swayambhu tasma, therefore parang pashyati na antaratman. So therefore we are constantly looking out, not within. So the senses, which are ears, jnanendriyas, then we have karmendriyas, and this mahabhut. So the whole world is made up of this pancha mahabhut. And this pancha mahabhut are experienced as shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha through our senses. And we interact with this pancha mahabhut with our karmendriyas, constantly holding something, dropping something, going somewhere, talking. So constantly we are interacting with the five these great elements. And since we are identified with the body, which is also made up of these five great elements, and to maintain the body, we need the interaction with the world outside. We have to eat, we have to drink, we have to protect the body. So the senses are totally involved with this one agenda itself of protecting the body and giving pleasure to the body, to the mind through the body. But this the journey of a seeker should go within. So from the senses we have to come at the level of our mind. From there ahankar, from there that mahat. But the senses keep on going out. Tasmat parang pashyati na antaratman. So what is the solution? He says the dhiraha, the wise seeker, the wise spiritual seeker, kaschit, some rare, pratyek atmanam aikshata, sees the inner self. Pratyek means inner, the inner self, the self which is deep within. Though it's all pervading, but it is recognized when we go one stage, in our inner, from the gross to the subtle, when we go, we come to recognize that self. But how? Avrutta chakshuhu, by turning the eyes within. Avrutta chakshuhu, by turning the eyes within. Not literally, but it's a very important advice given here of turning the eyes within. Avrutta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan, with a desire to attain that state of immortality. This turning the eyes within, not only eyes but all the senses within, is what is called in Yoga Sutra pratyahara. This is one of the important steps before attaining that state of samadhi. This pratyahara is very important. Though before that, the steps are also very important: yama, niyama, asana, and pranayam. So yama, there are those 5 important values: ahimsa, satyam, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. Then niyama we have shaucha, santosh, tapas, swadhyaya, and ishwar pranidhan. I had spoken about this, I think, before some time. Then we have asana, then pranayam. These are little outer sadhana, but real subtle sadhana begins when we practice pratyahara. Patanjali Maharaj described this pratyahara as swa vishaya asamprayoge chittasya swarupanukar iva indriyanam. He says that is called pratyahara. When the indriyas are stopped from going to their objects, and when these indriyas become as though of the nature of chitta, that is called pratyahara. And by following this path of pratyahara, there is total control over the indriyas. Tataha paramavashyate indriyanam. One attains supreme control over the indriyas. Otherwise, we have little control. We try to stop the indriyas from going towards wrong objects. We try to involve the indriyas in the right objects. But that is not a complete control. Here, the indriyas are totally withdrawn and they are as though established in the chitta itself. So this is what is called pratyahara, wherein the senses are stopped from going to their respective object. This can come only through proper vairagya and through practice, constant practice, and also acquiring vairagya. We will be able to withdraw the senses from their respective objects and place them in the chitta. First in the mind, and then the whole thing is withdrawn in the chitta. So it's like for example, we look at the world through our senses. One has to and think that there is the world outside. We think that I am here inside this body and the world is outside. We think that the mind is inside, the chitta is inside, and the world is outside. Generally we feel like that. But is it true? Is the world in the chitta or is the chitta in the world? Or if the chitta word might be difficult, is the world in the mind or the mind in the world? Generally we feel that the world is there and mind is there in the world. But really speaking, the world is there in our mind. The world is there in our mind. In the Dakshinamurti Stotram also, which we saw, the first verse itself, it says, what does it say? Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam pasyannatmani mayaya bahirvodbhutam yatha nidraya. The whole world is seen by the realized master within that self only. But it appears outside due to Maya. Just like in our dream, the dream appears outside, but actually the dream is in our mind only. Similarly, this world is in our mind. Means whatever we see, including our body and the world, is actually in the mind. That itself is the mind. So the first practice for withdrawing our senses is to imagine, if not experience directly, but we can imagine first stage that I am not in the world, but the world is in me. With our eyes closed, not now, but with our eyes closed, we have to think that the whole world, including my body, is just a thought in my mind. It's just a vritti in the chitta. That everything is just a thought. That it is not actually there, but it is just a thought. There is no physical reality to the world outside, but it is just a thought, just a imagination. If this we practice for a long time, we will actually start experiencing that yes, It is all in my mind. And that is when the senses will get as though withdrawn and they will be placed in our mind itself. So this is a very subtle sadhana of pratyahara, which Kathopanishad, though it was much earlier than I think Yoga Sutras, but it has mentioned this. So kaschid dhiraha. So very rare few pratyaka atmanam aikshata, see the inner self by withdrawing the senses and taking it within with an intense desire to reach, to experience, to attain that state of immortality. Amrutatvam icchan avrutta chakshuhu. Today, later on, we will try to practice this of withdrawing the senses and taking it within. Just as our, like this pointer is there, when we press it, the light goes from here outside. But when we stop, when we close that exit, then the light remains within only. The light remains within. Similarly, the senses are going outward, but they are stopped from their respective field and they are taken inside the mind. It is actually the mind itself which is expressing through the senses. The mind itself has as though become the senses. Like in our dream, your eyes are closed, your ears are closed, your mouth is closed. I hope, because I have not seen you sleeping. Some people sleep with their mouth open. But just let us assume. So, and we are sleeping. It is dark in the room. And then we dream. And in our dream, what happens? Our mind projects the world. Mind projects the world. Mind projects a body. And mind projects the senses. The senses are projected by the mind. In my dream also I see, I hear, I taste, I touch. So all these faculties are there in the dream. So where were they? They are all in the mind itself. Similarly, now also all these senses are in the mind. But this mind is going out. So through proper vairagya and practice, the first step is to withdraw these senses away from their respective object. Therefore, in the good old days, those yogis and all used to go to some natural place where there is not much attraction to the senses. In a beautiful location of the Himalayas, in the forest or near the river or lake, the senses can be easily withdrawn and placed within. Nowadays, actually, a lot of distraction is there. Constant distraction is there for our senses through the television, through the computers, through radio, through all sorts of things. Constant stimuli is given to the senses. So if we want to recognize and experience our own self, we have to go within, take this journey, and then only we will be able to experience it. So the first step is to withdraw the senses from their respective objects and place the senses in the mind. Understand that what we are experiencing outside is all because of the senses. It is all in the mind. So become the mind. Let everything be mind only. Let your body and this world be nothing but the mind. So when such a thing is done, then it will become easier to go deeper within. See, there are people who practice and then they get frightened also, because this is a new and unknown path. It becomes easier for us to move in this world, it's known. But this journey within is unknown. But it's very interesting. And again, I repeat that one should take proper guidance to enter this world within. Because one may get lost, will not know how to come out or go within also. So one should have proper guidance and then enter this. Therefore, the teacher had given these steps. So from here to tanmatras, to the mind, to ahankar, to this asmita, and then we gain abidance in our own self. So kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshata avritta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. And what is the motivation? Amrutatvam icchan, with a desire to experience, to attain that state of immortality, wherein one becomes free from death, free from the fear of death, which is a most desirable state. Similar thought is repeated in the next verse also. Parachakkaman anuyanti balaha te mrityoryanti vitatasya pasham atha dhira amrutatvam viditva dhruvam adhruveshviha na prarthayante parachakkaman anuyanti balaha te mrityoryanti vitatasya pasham. Parachakkaman anuyanti balaha. Here Yamarajji says that balaha, children, bala literally it means children, but what it means is those who are like children, ignorant on this path. They are like children on the path of spirituality. They are ignorant about it. Such people, what they do, in order to gain pleasures, they go outside, means through the senses, they involve with the sense objects. So, parachak kaman anuyanti balaha. External pleasures are pursued by these children or the ignorant people. Because through these external objects, there is a experience of immediate pleasure. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha seems to give us instant pleasure. And everyone wants pleasure, everyone wants happiness. So this outer sense objects seems to give us instant gratification, instant pleasure. So parachak kaman anuyanti balaha. But what happens? Te mrityor yanti vitatasya pasham. By going out and getting extrovert and getting involved with the world of objects and becoming more and more attached to them, one gets caught up in the snare, in the pasha of mrityu, of death. One gets totally engrossed in the samsara. One becomes actually more and more entangled in the samsara. Every experience which we have of the sense objects leaves some taste. And the more we involve, the more it leaves the taste, and one gets more and more addicted, more and more attached, and becomes difficult to withdraw from those objects. So one gets entangled in this samsara. So in order to experience those objects, we put forth effort, we work, it creates impression, it gives result, then again we indulge in those objects, again we put forth effort. So this goes on and on. This karma chakkar goes on and on. And that is how we have been living for many, many lifetimes. After many, many lifetimes, we have come to understand that there is something other than the sense pleasure. We have come to understand that there is a higher reality. So those who have not understood this, Yamraj himself says that they come under my pasha. They get caught up by me. Te mrityoryanti vitatasya prasham, and this pasha is well spread out everywhere. And they get more and more caught up in this. Even a sincere seeker slowly gets caught up sometimes with this world. There's a very famous story which you must have heard before also. So there was this one great tapasvi staying in the forest doing his sadhana and did not have anything, no possession, just a small little hut he had built, taking the material from the forest itself, and he was staying there. And he had his own little cowpin dress. So one day he found that his cowpin, his inner dress, was bitten by those rats. So he felt that एक दो तो है मेरे पास, उसको भी खा लिया उन्होंने. So that is not good. So I should keep one cat. So he went to the village and got a cat, and he kept the cat there. The cat ate all the rat, but the cat was there, and he has to feed the cat, give milk to the cat. So he used to go to the village, get milk. Then he thought, every day kaun jayega village mein, so let me get a cow. So he got a cow, and he used to milk the cow and give the cat also, and he himself started drinking milk. Then he thought that every day we have to look after this cow. I can't meditate. I should get someone to look after the cow. So he went to the village, found some girl who can take care of the cow. And then he thought, why that girl and all these things? Let me marry that girl itself. So he got married. He had children. He then thought that smaller house is no good, big house, this, that and all. After some time, he was totally a samsari. So it starts with a little thing and keeps on growing. So therefore, it is said that paracha kaman anuyanti balaha. So those who are ignorant, they go out in the world seeking pleasure and get caught up by this pasha of death. Just like those we keep traps to catch rats. So they come in seeking some pleasure and they get caught. So we also get caught. So atha dhiraha, but those wise, amrutatvam viditva, those who know that the real immortality lies somewhere else. It doesn't lie in the world of objects. World of objects and all give us pleasure, and it seems everything is fine, but it keeps us in this illusory world. We fail to recognize our own self. We remain like this. It's like, again, to give example of our computer itself. Sometimes they have different programs and all. Some programs are there wherein you can have a fish tank also, with all fish, all in the computer. And from there only you take up some food and give it to them and take care of them. And after taking care of them for some time, you feel that they really exist there. अरे उन्होंने खाना नहीं खाया, चलो कुछ दे दो. And one keeps on creating that illusory, imaginary world. So similarly, we have been living in this world which has been created by our mind, and we fail to realize our own self. But there are those wise people who have understood this. Atadhira amrutatvam viditva, having recognized and realized where that amrutatvam is, they dhruvam, and this amrutatvam which is eternal, adhruveshu iha na prarthayante, they don't seek it in this temporary world. That which is eternal, they don't seek out in the temporary world. They don't seek through their senses. They go back, they take the journey back to the source from where we are experiencing this world. It's very logical, very, very rational, and once we comprehend, understand this, we will be inspired to take up this journey. This is like the person who is staying out of the cave. That person is told that you enter the cave and you will find a great treasure. पहले तो घबराहट हो जाती है. Cave is so dark and you don't know what it is inside. But once one is convinced, then one can enter this cave. Similarly, we have to enter the cave of our heart and realize our own self. It is not to be found in the temporary objects of this world. So, dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. One continues living in this world, one continues doing what has to be done, but one should keep this agenda of going within. So, you don't have to rebel, you don't have to fight with the world, don't have to create some new, laws or something. But keeping the harmony in the world, we have to go within. That keeping harmony with the world is what is achieved through yama and niyam. So through yama we keep harmony with the world outside. Through niyama we keep harmony with our own all these equipments, and then we go within. So it's a very scientific, very beautiful journey. Okay, we will take this journey within, but what is that which we have to seek? What is this Atma? What is this Supreme Self which we have to seek? Give us some pointers. Give us some hint how it is, what we should be looking at. So that hints are given in the following verses. A lot of verses are there in which hints are given, indicators are given of that Supreme Self. So let us chant. Third verse. Yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshanscha maithunan ete naiva vijanati kimatra parishishyate etad vaitat yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshanscha maithunan ete naiva vijanati kimatra parishishyate etad vaitat. That Atma is that by which we know everything. It is the ultimate knower within. That Atma, our own self, is the ultimate knower, the seer or the knower within. It is that through which we see ena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshanscha maitunan etena eva vijanati. By that self alone one sees through the eyes all the form. One experiences the rasa through our tongue. One experiences shabda, sound, with our ears. One experiences sparsha, touch. One experiences sex, maithunan. Ete naiva vijanati. All this is experienced because of that self alone, which is the Purusha. That Purusha and all this Prakriti is matter. It is matter only, it is inert. The atoms, the proton, the neutron, the electron, everything is inert. Even the finest particle is inert. It is something other than that particle which is seeing it. It is other than the energy which is experiencing that energy. It is other than the mass which is experiencing that mass. The entire world which we experience is made up of inert, unliving things, which is experience, which is seen and experienced because of that consciousness. So the presence of consciousness in our chitta makes it alive. Because of that we become the seer. Because of the presence of consciousness in our intellect, we can think, we can understand. Because of the presence of consciousness is ahankar, we have the experience that I am. Because of the presence of consciousness in the mind, in the senses, we perceive the world. We experience the shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. If that consciousness was not present, this whole thing would be inert only. It is not there. It's like in our dream. We see, hear, taste, touch. We experience the dream because of my presence only. Similarly, this whole world is experienced because of the self. So, etena eva vijanati. Kim atra parishishyate? What is there which cannot be known by the self? Everything is known by the self. So self is that through which knowing happens. So the hint is given that rather than paying attention to what is known, we have to shift our attention to the one because of which that is known. Shifting our attention from the seen to the seer, from the known to the knower. Like for example, when I am looking at an object, any object, I get totally engrossed with the object to see the shape, the color, the size and all those things. Instead of that, I should ask the question, who is this who is seeing this object? What is that because of which I am seeing this object? That because of which I am seeing this object is the self. So, yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshanscha maithunan etena eva vijanati. In Kathopanishad, there are some mantras which this mantra reminds us of those mantras, wherein it is said that Atma is that which cannot be, because of which the eyes can see, but the eyes cannot see it. It is that because of which the ears can hear, but ears cannot hear it. It is that because of which the mind can think, but mind cannot think of it. It's like our own tongue. Tongue is that because of which we can taste a lot of things, but we cannot taste our own tongue. Or our eyes also, we can see, but we can't see our own eyes. It is that because of which we can see. Similarly, Atma is that because of which one knows, but nothing knows it. It knows everything. So it is the great knower. Etad vaitata. Yamraji, this line is repeated in many mantras. Yamraji says that, hey Nachiketa, what you had asked, what is that which is different from dharma, different from adharma, this is that, etad vaitata. This is that, what you had asked. This is that Atma, this is that supreme reality about which you had asked. Etad vaitata. So similarly, various indicators are given here. Let us go to the next verse. Swapnantam jagaritantam chobhau yenanupashyati mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na shochati swapnantam jagaritantam स्वप्नांतम जागरितांतम च उभौ येन अनुपश्यति. That is the Atma by which we see what? Swapnantam, that which is there in the dream. Jagaritantam, that which is there in the waking state. So it's a great phenomena that we know this world. We open our eyes and see. I remember in my childhood also sometimes I used to wonder, what is this, what we are seeing? What is that which we are hearing? What is this whole thing about I? The experience of I which we have is the most fascinating of all the experiences. That there is something which is so close and so intimate, this sense of I. Nothing like that in this world. So special. I am so special. This is applicable to all of you, huh? So this I, and through all these senses and all, I pursue this world. It's the most amazing phenomena. It is unlike anything. And it's so rare actually in this vast cosmos. We have yet to discover other living beings. Its assumption is that they might be there somewhere, but we have not discovered them. So all of us sitting here are the cream of creation. Whether you believe it or not. No, you believe. It's a cream of creation. Not only that we have the senses and all, but we have the faculty to think. And the most important faculty which human being has got is faculty to meditate, going within. No other creature in this world has got this ability to go within, to ask that question, who am I? Dogs, cats, monkeys, they don't ask this question, who am I? They only ask the question, where is the banana? So, this is a great faculty. So, swapnantam, we create a dream. Everyone experiences dream. We create a dream world and we are aware of that dream. Where is that dream exactly? Such a vast dream with mountains and rivers and oceans and all. Vast space. Where does it exist? And how it gets created and how we experience, it's all a great mystery. And we experience it. Then in the waking state also we experience, like all of you are sitting here and I am experiencing. I am not very sure whether it is a waking state. If I just wake up and find that, I was dreaming that I was giving pravachan, I will have no doubts that it was a dream. So it's very amazing that even the waking is like the dream only. Dream and waking, similar type of experience we have. And we are aware of it. So there is this awareness of the waking, awareness of the dream. So instead of becoming interested in what we are seeing, we should get interested in that phenomena of seeing, in that thing because of which the seeing is happening. The seer, that seer who is seeing all these phenomena. That is the secret. That is my real nature. So swapnantam jagaritantam cha ubhav yena anupashyati, by which, because of which we see through the senses, through the mind, we experience this world, but all because of that Purusha. And that Purusha is my own real self, which is Mahantam, which is great, Mahan, Vibhum, all pervading. Everything, whatever we see, is supported and is pervaded by the same supreme power, supreme self. Atmanam, Matva, and having recognized this self, Dhiraha, the wise person, na shochati, doesn't grieve, becomes free of all grief. There is a beautiful Upanishad wherein Naradji approaches his teacher, Sanat Kumar, and he says that I have studied a lot, but still I am unhappy. I must have told this story before also. So his teacher asked him that what have you studied, Baba, tell me. So he gives a list. He says all the 4 Vedas, then Upavedas, then Vedanga, and various Vidyas and various Kalas. Everything he mentions. Huge list. And the teacher looks at him. He says, okay, after studying all this, are you happy? He says, no, I am not happy. Teacher tells him that you have just picked up words. These are all words. They are all in the mind. They are words. No doubt they have their own use in the world, but they are all words. Whether you pick up words regarding geology, regarding botany, regarding chemistry, physics, it's just words. They will not give you freedom from sorrow. So he asked him, what will help me become free of this sorrow, from grief? He says, only by knowing yourself. Atmavit. Tarati shokam atmavit. One who recognizes the Atma becomes free from grief. There is no other way. And then he gives him the knowledge of the self. So matva dhiraha na shochati. In Gita also, when Arjuna became dejected, Bhagavan gave him self-knowledge. Ashochanan vashochastvam pradnyavan. Pradnyavan? Yeah. Gataso na gatasonscha nanu shochanti panditaha. So he says that a pandit, a wise person who recognizes the self, doesn't grieve. You are grieving for that which there is no need to grieve. For example, we might grieve for something we lose in our dream. When we wake up, we don't have that grief. Similarly, we are grieving for things we have gained and lost and all. But when we wake up from this dream, but unfortunately we wake up from one dream and go into another dream. Our life is nothing but moving from one dream to another dream. So we have to wake up from all these dreams. And that happens only by knowing the self. So matva dhiraha na shochati, doesn't grieve, becomes free of grief. So in this way the self is indicated. One more verse we'll see. Yaimam madvadam veda atmanam jivamantikat Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya natato vijugupsate etad vaitata yaimam madvadam veda atmanam jivamantikat. Yeah. So ya imam madvadam veda atmanam. This atma alone is identifies with this body, mind, intellect and becomes the jiva. What we call jiva is that supreme self alone. Becomes the what you call the atma in its pure form. See, Purusha. In that state of Purusha, there is no Prakriti. all these are just dissolved into that. That's called the Kaivalya Avastha. But when that world is seen, then at the highest level, when our mind is extremely pure, when it is free from all Rajogun and Tamogun, extremely pure, then that Purusha alone is experienced as witness, Sakshi. Then little bit of Rajogun when it comes, then it is experienced as the knower, Jnata. The Purusha alone becomes the Jnata, knower. Then little bit of more Rajogun comes, we become the Bhokta, the enjoyer. Then again identifying with our Indriyas and Karmendriyas and all, we become Karta, doer. So doership is at this level, when we interact with the world of objects and we become the doer. If we go little within, then we come to know that I am just a enjoyer. Everything is happening in my mind. I am enjoying the world. If you go still further, you will understand that I am the knower. And still further, if we go within, then we will know that I am just a witness. That everything is happening in front of me, I am the witness. And when we get established in this witness, then from there also we gain abidance in our own self, which is not a witness also. Even the concept of witness is there with respect to the world. So when we talk about enjoyer, it is also the Purusha only, identified with this mind and the senses and the ahankar and all, becomes the enjoyer. So here in this verse it says that Ya imam madhvadam veda, the one who is enjoying the honey. Enjoying the honey means enjoying the fruits of action, good as well as bad, and who who is also the Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya, who is the Lord of the past and the future, who is also the Lord of the past and future, and Jivam, who is also the one who sustains life. The self gives life to all this matter. So one who sustains life, one who knows it, Antikat, one who Veda, one who recognizes that Atma very close, very deep within, very near, as our own self. Having known this, na tato vijugupsate, the person becomes free from all fear. Thereafter, doesn't have any fear. Fear of death, fear of pain, fear of sorrow, fear of separation. Different types of fears are there. Fear of failure, fear of success. Different fears. Everyone has got their own special fears. So fear becomes, a person becomes fearless. So Ishana Bhuta Bhavyasya na tato vijugupsate etad vaitata. This is that. This is that Atma which, hey Nachiketa, you had asked. So this, even if we take this journey from doership, we have to go at the subtler level of being an enjoyer, then go at a subtler level of being just a knower. Knower means I know, but I am not participating, I am not enjoying. Sometimes actually in the lecture also, when you bring your friends or relatives jabardasti, they are at a higher level. Some of them remain as witness. From the way they are sitting and all, you come to know they are witnessing everything. ऐसे बैठ के सबको देखते ही कौन क्या कर रहा है. They are mere witness. That is higher stage. Then little bit more down stage is knower. Oh, कौन है ये क्या है ये? Try to know everything there. So that is the lower. Then the still lower stage is when they start enjoying. Areva, very nice lecture. Some jokes and all, very good. And still at that, then interaction also, action also happens. So we become the doer. So the very beautiful technique in our scripture is mentioned that if you want to become free from doer and free from the sense of enjoyership, you follow this path. The path of becoming free from doer is what we call that karma yoga. When we follow the path of karma yoga, when we just bring that attitude that actions are happening, this body and all is just an instrument in the hands of the Lord, and I am performing these actions as His seva. So, with the attitude of seva, with the attitude of not getting attached to the results of action, with the attitude of samatva, asangata, we become free of the sense of doership. Then, by dedicating the results of action or taking it as prasad, we become free from the sense of enjoyership. When we don't express our choice of what we are enjoying, whatever comes, we accept it as prasad, then we are not active, proactive in that enjoying. Then slowly we reach the state of knowing, we become the knower. We just see the world and know what it is. And then we rise to the level of being a witness, sakshi. So this is also step by step technique of attaining that state of enlightenment. So from the doer, you become the enjoyer, then the knower, and this just remain a sakshi. Sakshi is there, sakshi bhav is that when we are not connected to what we are seeing by the sense of I and my. You neither say that it is my, nor do you say that it is I. I am just a witness. Just imagine that even you go to a new place and all something is happening, you are just witnessing. Neither you identify with that, nor you claim something as belonging to you. You just a seer, witness. So when we practice that being a witness, and that continuous practice of that gives rise to that vairagya towards all that, and that will lead us to abidance in our own self. So being a witness. So the self alone is the witness, self alone is the knower, the doer, the enjoyer is the self alone. So that is what is said here. Ki ya imam madvadam veda, one who knows this Atma, which is the enjoyer of the honey, which is the giver of life, which is the Lord of the past and future, which is recognized deep within, antikat, na tato vijugupsate, such a person becomes free from fear. Etad vai tata, this is that. Now we will sit and meditate. You are already sitting, so we'll meditate. Close your eyes. Experience the world in your mind. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, all are in the mind. You have the memory of the world, you have memory of your body, you are feeling the presence of your body, all in the mind. You feel as though there is something outside that is also a thought in the mind. You are identified with this world. You have a name and form. You have relationship. And with all this, we are tied down to this world. But the whole world exists in our mind. Now, instead of being the enjoyer, the doer, and the knower of the world, be the witness. Be the witness. Sakshi. Neither there is I nor my. You are merely a Sakshi. Don't try to know what you are seeing or experiencing. Don't try to enjoy what you are seeing or experiencing. Don't try to do anything about what you are experiencing. Just be a witness. मुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ